Hello.
Don't fuck shit up. Don't start no shit, won't be no shit now. Don't fuck shit up.
I'm about to start some shit, and it's gonna be some shit. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. Actually, it's actually 4 a.m. And just to give y'all a prelude and just to set this chief and go up. Um, I talked to my boy. We gonna call him the Code, right? One of my best friends I known for years, right? Actually, my sister's first boyfriend. And we just became close over the years, right? And so one day I was talking to him about AB Dubs, right? Now, if y'all don't know what an AB Dub is, now it could be an American black woman or it could be an angry black woman. Um, and I got that term from the Angry Man. Shout out to the Angry Man. Y'all go check him out on YouTube at the Angry Man. And it's just kind of like our code. Shout out to the code, right? And so oftentimes when we meet up, we got stories about our women, you know, and just over time, it just becomes a thing. And we go through a lot as men. And it's cool. It is what it is. We have a lot of our women have a lot of things they dealing with through the DNA, coming from slavery, coming from their upbringing, fatherless homes, abuse, molestation, whatever the case may be, right? And oftentimes we're left in like this. We're put in this box as black men, and we have certain expectations on us, and misunderstandings. We're misunderstood, right? And it's some men that are no good. Let's just be honest. But it's a lot of men that are good that are misunderstood that get put in this same box, and these certain expectations get put on them, right? And it's a tough thing. And as we try to navigate through this, and we try to stick with our AB dubs, our AB dubs, American black women, instead of going, and playing for the other team, and then they get mad about that, right? And then it's just so problematic. It's just always drama. It's just so much that comes along with that, right? And so my boy Cole sent me this video the other day by let's just be clear because I'm about to just probably be disrespectful. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful. This content is so great, y'all. This information is so important to our culture, right? And so this is a Chief and Go emergency episode, right? And I just felt the need to do this at this moment at 4 in the morning. And I've been drinking, but that's besides the point. That's beside the point, however you want to say. You know what I mean? The information is the information. Like the truth is the truth. So the page is called Soft White Underbelly, right? On YouTube at Soft White Underbelly. And the video is with Princella Clark, who cooked it up, Slim. I mean, she cooked it up like no other. I have never heard anybody break this down like this, right? And the truth hurts. So it's going to hit everybody. You know, it's going to hit you in a certain place because sometimes we don't want to adhere to the truth. We don't want to believe the truth. We want to dodge the truth, duck and dodge and hide. But it's gonna be some truth for everybody in this video. And basically, I just don't even know what to leave out. So this is kind of like a what they call it, what are the videos called when you watch something and oh, I can't believe it's 4 o'clock in the morning. Um, oh my goodness, when you're watching a video and you're doing a commentary on it. Oh, I cannot believe that it's slipping my head right now, but
It was crazy.
it's called a reaction video, so to speak. And I may not be able to monetize it. They may take it down, but all respect due to soft white underbelly and Princella Clark. I am just this information and the way she's cooking it up is so profound to me that I had to come and record this video tonight. And most of it is going to be her talking, because there's not many parts that should be cut out, right? Because she cooking, y'all. And I'm doing it for the coaches, the Chief and Go. I'm your host, Chief, Lil Chief, Chief Rocker, Chiefy Dog, Chief Dizzle for Shizzle for Sheezy for show. And I just know this information will help a lot of people to maybe understand their relationships, understand themselves if they're really, being objective, that it's subjective, if they're looking at it in a way honestly where they can see themselves and some of the things, that they may be doing wrong. And that's the most important part of moving forward, to just see, okay, what is my part in this, right? So whether you're married, you've been married, you're divorced, you're looking, you just got in a relationship, whatever the case may be, when we're talking about relationships and the dynamics between Mars and Venus, men and women, right? She is gonna cook it up for y'all. And I'm just here to share with y'all. Not that they need to share. This video is already at, you know, 170 173,000 views. It was 4 weeks ago when it came out. Shout out to Soft White Underbelly. Shout out to Princella Clark. I just want to share this with y'all on the Chief and Go. Doing it for the culture, because love is the basis and the root of everything. And if we don't got love, we ain't going nowhere. And, the black family, the man, the woman, and the child, right? Or God, the man, the woman, and the child, the triangle, right? That's the strongest structure, the strongest thing on earth. Back to the Trinity. We can go back to religion. So I think it's very important. And you see my shirt, always remain true, right? And so I just think it's very important. I have to share this with y'all. So we're gonna start at the top, doing it for the culture. Chief and Go with Princella Clark. Oh, she about to cook it. She about to cook it up for y'all in a way I have never seen. Right? It's unbelievable, the knowledge and the understanding that she spits and that she is talking about in this video. Uh-oh. So let's get it started. I'm gonna add it to the stage.
What is your core
Excuse me.
belief in terms of romantic relationships?
My core belief is that males and females are not compatible, which is the source of all of the conflict that women and men have within their relationships.
They're not compatible.
No.
I think a lot of people would not dispute that.
And I believe linguistically, I don't think people really understand the language that they use. So when you look up the definition for compatible, it means able to exist together without conflict. Well, by nature, humans, males and females, are already in conflict from the get-go, and it's called sexual conflict. that is the source of all of the issues that males and females have. So when you rise beyond sex to try to create a holistic or harmonious relationship, you're always going to run into those conflicting issues, which shows that males and females are not biologically compatible for healthy relationships. They have to really, really try hard to do this.
Do you believe relationships can be mutually beneficial?
Well, I believe that there's a difference between relationships and partnerships. I think in modern society, we have collapsed many terms into one, creating a lot of confusion about what things actually are. So, from my point of view, relationships are for broken people. Partnerships are for whole people. So relationships are built on codependent fulfillment. So I'm missing something critical in my life. I need attention. I need validation. I need somebody to help me pay my rent. And you need companionship, or you need somebody to stroke your ego, whatever it is that you're missing. And then we come together and try to fill those voids. The problem with that is existence itself is full of pain and suffering. And we don't like the reality of our existence. So what we try to do is control the other person so that they can make us feel comfortable. I'm missing something. You have what I need, and I need to control you so that you can continue to fulfill what I need and make me feel comfortable. When you come to partnerships, these people already have everything. They have built themselves up and fulfilled all of their basic needs. So they don't need you for that. When you get to a partnership, you're now taking your natural gifts, talents, or whatever it is, and you're bringing it to the table to fuel a higher purpose. Most people are not in a position to establish partnerships. They can only establish relationships.
All right. So that part, right? The chiefism breakdown, the chiefy chief. Yeah. I mean, because a marriage is nothing but a business agreement in a sense, because when you get divorced, right, your credit is affected, your bank accounts, your assets are affected. So, like when you're talking about a partnership, a sponsorship, right? When you're a company and you're getting another company to sponsor you, you're essentially saying, hey, this is what I'm bringing to the table, and this is my audience. This is my target audience, this is my fan base. This is, what I can offer you that you may not have with your company. And this company is like, okay, well, this is my audience, my demographic that I can offer you, and you come together and for the sponsorship, and then you're kind of sharing uh your demographic, or if usually if it's different, like if it's more broad, if this company reaches more women or kids, in this age group, or so to speak, and this company reaches, this age group, this women, this gender, this area, right, geography. And then, okay, so I'm going to combine with you and create a sponsorship so we can both expand our horizons and broaden our reach. And so we're both bringing something to the table. So a marriage essentially is a business agreement, at the root of it, like a partnership, right? Like I broke it down to a sponsorship, a partnership, a joint venture. So we're combining to expand, as it comes to business. But when you break it all the way down to marriage, it's kind of like the same thing. It's two things becoming one. Definitely even more with marriage, right? And so we have to figure out how to coexist and how to use this union for the greater good of both entities. Let her cook. Let her cook.
And these relationships end up being draining. So let me give you an example. I like to speak in terms of scientific analogy. Black holes just suck. suck, 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 suck. And so the zeroth law of thermodynamics is that energy from a concentrated area will migrate and disperse to an area of less concentration until it reaches equilibrium. Well, let's take a person who's whole getting with someone who's codependent. The codependent person is a black hole, and the other person is full of energy. They don't need anything. Well, what happens when you get them together? In terms of the zeroth law of thermodynamics, the energy from the person who's whole is going to disperse and transfer to the person that's a black hole. Well, here's the problem. A black hole is a bottomless pit. That means that energy keeps pulling. It never evens out. So it's never enough for that person. So that person is going to continue to suck the life out of a person until that person is drained. And when that person is drained, that person who was sucking the life is going to leave and find somebody else.
Okay. Great point. So I want everybody who's watching this to think about that, right? Really think about it. Who is a black hole in your life that's just coming and sucking, pause, and pulling from your energy and pulling and constantly pulling, but not giving back, not reciprocating, right? How many people in your life are doing that, right? You got to really analyze that, because that could be holding you back. And that's deeper than relationships. That's just in general. But in a relationship is very important, because that partner is so important to you. And you're going, it's certain leeways, it's certain things you're gonna, it's a certain closeness, it's a certain relationship that you're going to give. They're going to be able to suck more or pull more from you than maybe your cousin, that never did, or your best friend, that's just pulling your energy down, pulling from you, and constantly coming back and pulling more, right? So we need to think about that in our lives. We need to analyze these type of things. And I'm doing it for the culture. Chief and Go, I do it for the culture. Okay, back to Princella. Let's let her cook. Okay.
And so this is the dynamic that you have in a lot of relationships that doesn't really exist in a partnership.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
So this is a question I'll ask all the relationship coaches and psychologists that I've had sit in that stool. Are all romantic relationships transactional?
Yes.
They all are?
The majority of them are. Yeah. So when it comes, males and females.
A partnership would be transactional?
Partnership is more so, I have value, okay? And it's not so much it's a transaction, because these people have something outside of themselves that they're fueling. So the purpose needs them more than they need each other, right? So they are coming together because they have something to add to their connection. When people are building relationships based on sex, which is very biological, it becomes more of an aspect of control and hierarchy. So males see life one way and the female sees life another way. And here's the problem. Both of them are designed to harm each other, because neither one of them are complete within themselves. So in this dynamic, it becomes very transactional in that dynamic. Okay, for the woman, she wants a savior. Okay, that puts her in a land of delusion, because in reality, the man can't be your savior, but he needs to pretend that he can be your savior. Well, the truth will set you free. People in these codependent setups can't function in truth. They need delusion. They need lies. So because of that, it is heavily transactional. However, the higher you go when you add value to yourself, I believe I have a concept called the 6 pillars of empowerment and the 3 stages of development. There are 3 stages of development. It's dependency, independence and then interdependence. There is never a place in human history where there is not a form of dependence, but there are three different forms of dependence. You are born a dependent. When you come out of the womb, you need to depend on somebody to feed you. You have to communicate through crying. You have to manipulate to get your needs met. Okay. Well, the problem with this is that most people never grow out of this stage. Okay. They are conditioned to continue this behavior with their romantic relationships.
So, what value are you adding to your relationship? Just like in business, it's like somebody sponsoring you or endorsements, or, how do you even get these deals or situations? Because you're adding a certain amount of value. Like I said, we're trading audiences. We're trading, I can get you this, you could get me that. So going into any business situation, when you're partnering up or collaborating with another business, it's always wise to come in, or if you're asking someone for something, like, I mean, not we ain't talking about a bank loan, but if you're coming into and you're dealing with a company, you're coming in and you're saying, okay, I need this from that company. So at the same time that you're coming to that company to say, hey, I need this, you need to tell them even before, hey, I can do this for your company, but I mean, not but, I can do this for your company, and this is what I would like in return, right? It's a trade-off and value. So a lot of relationships don't work because, sometimes one party doesn't have the value, and they chasing this other party, or, ended up connecting with the other party that may have the value, and then it becomes lopsided. So it's very important to understand your value, what you bring to the table, and to be self-assured and confident in yourself, and and to be at a certain point before you even try to be in a relationship, right? So I'm bringing it back to the business and go. I mean, the culture, hip hop, whatever it is, music, whatever you're doing, right? Art, promoter, whatever. It's always good to come, and when you're approaching someone with expectations of something from them, to share your what you can do for them, right? To get those expectations that you're asking for, right? To share the value you can offer their situation, you know, in turn for them giving you what you need to help your situation, right? So, yeah, we're gonna let her cook though. This is Princella Clark. Hey man, this information is so important.
Money stay out of the way.
I just had to I had to come in and do this, so
Crazy. They real crazy.
because most people are. Let her cook.
Okay. So there are 6 areas that a person must be independent in. So at the independent stage is when you become a whole person, where you have become independent in these 6 areas. Well, what are these 6 areas? It's mental independence, where you're able to think for yourself. Because when you are a child, you cannot think for yourself. You depend on somebody else to process information for you. Well, most humans, especially in America, have not been taught how to think. We've been allowed to passively believe, passively pass thoughts, because there's a difference between thoughts and thinking. So we haven't learned how to think for ourselves. But you need to think for yourself to be an independent. You also need to be emotionally independent.
Turns out the government tracks a lot of data, and it's scattered all.
Well, because of our nature coming up through childhood, we have been conditioned to be emotionally unstable in order to get our needs met. So we don't know how to communicate, manage, or channel our emotions. That's another issue. So then you have to be spiritually independent. Here's the problem with spirituality. There's a difference between spirituality and religion. Religion teaches you to fear something outside of yourself. It gives you a code of morals to follow. If there is no religion, a lot of people would have no self-control whatsoever. So they need something outside of themselves to tell them how to act, to tell them what to believe. When you are spiritual, you have to have an internal code of ethics and morals to guide self, and it's about self-transformation and self-discipline. Most
Very important. Very important. Rewind that part a couple times if you didn't get that. That is very important, right? Religion is the guidelines for some people, you know, wherever those barriers lie, because, you know, everybody's different. And some people will, you know, claim to be religious and I'll go to church every week and I hit all the meetings and I do all the work, you know, on the outside, but what are you on the inside? What's your connection to God? And then, you know, a lot of people that go and they're at church every week and, you know, they're at all the functions and they judging everybody, right? So just because they go into the functions, they you know, they better than everybody and they judging people, right? But how close are you to the word and the, you know, and the laws and the morals and the, you know, the ethics and the morality and the, you know, of what God really is, the temple, right? That's the God, you know, the body, the temple, God. We are the gods. Ye are the gods. So, right, very important because, you know, it's a lot of fraudulent people out here claiming to be, but they not. And so that's very important to be true to that core. To always remain true, right? Know thyself. And if you know thyself, you know that you are made in God's image and he put you here to create and to be and, you know, find your gift and express it. I'm sorry. I got, you know, I got to get my little chief commentary because this is a reaction video, but she cooking. Let Princella cook. Much respect.
people are not there either. And then you have to be financially independent. There are so many people who are not financially independent.
Man,
they get in relationships because they need somebody to help them pay the bills. They stay at home with their parents because they need somebody to help provide shelter. So if you are unable to provide for yourself financially, you cannot be considered an independent. You are a dependent. Then you have to be physically independent. You have to be able to take care of yourself, be able to move about freely. It's not just about housing, it's also about health. There are so many people that are also not physically independent. They can't freely move around. And then you have to be sexually independent.
A lot of what we deal with
Very
comes down
important.
to balance, sleep,
Very
diet,
important right
movement,
there, guys.
and mental health.
Don't
May is Mental Health
control.
Awareness Month, and this video is sponsored by BetterHelp. Taking care of your mental health matters just as much as taking care of your physical health. And you don't have to go through things alone. After listening to thousands of people tell their stories, you realize most people are carrying more than they show. I see it in this work constantly, and I see it in myself as well.
Very important.
For me, it's easy to tell myself, I've got this, even when I don't. And sometimes it just keeps things stuck longer than they need to be. Talking to someone helps. Not feeling isolated.
Sexual independence is very important. If you're dependent on somebody for that release, you know, for that sexual thing, that can become very confusing, right? Between the physical and the mental, because that's a deep connection, you know? So you got to analyze your sexual connections and who you're giving that sexual energy to. And therapy is very important, like my brother is saying. Let him cook. Let him cook. Princella Clark.
And sometimes trying something new, even if it's uncomfortable, can shift things more than you expect. Something I've learned is that avoiding difficult feelings usually just makes them louder. Slowing down, talking through things, and being honest with yourself can shift more than you think. BetterHelp makes therapy accessible wherever you are, online or through the app. You answer a few questions and get matched with a licensed therapist quickly. And if it's not the right fit, you can switch anytime at no extra cost. 82% of BetterHelp clients recommend their therapist. Go to betterhelp.com/softwhiteunderbelly or click the link in the description for 10% off your first month of therapy. Because no one should have to go through things alone. BetterHelp is here with you.
So let me touch on that. Mental health is very important, right? We go to the doctor every year. They say, make sure you go get your yearly physical, especially as you get older, right? So we're going to get a evaluation of our physical body, our digestive system, our blood flow, our heart rate, our blood pressure, and all these things, which is important. But if our mental health is not intact, then our physical health doesn't even matter because the mental controls everything, right? So in my mind, and then, it's like a stigma or a taboo, especially I think in the Black community, about therapy and going to a therapist and talking to someone and, keying in on your mental health, locking in on where you at, being able to express yourself and talk about things and, to a professional that can kind of put it in, shape it for you to make you understand it with the right terms and understanding, right? I think that's very important. I think that's lacking in our community. I don't think, I know it is. And that's the reason for a lot of crime, not even our community, in the world. A lot of crime, a lot of violence, a lot of the crazy stories you hear, mothers killing their kids, and fathers killing the whole family, and mothers killing the husband and the whole family, and friends killing each other, or people getting killed over simple things. So our mental health is very important. It is not anything wrong. There's nothing wrong with going to get your mental health check. It is not a weakness at all, especially to my Black men, right? It is not a weakness because we have a lot on our shoulders, and sometimes you need that therapist, that professional, that person to talk to share that with, that can help you break that down and, navigate our thoughts and our emotions and our feelings and our issues in a safe, healthy way to understand it better. So make sure you get on top of your mental health. Is the coolest thing, actually. It's cool to be on top of your mental health because there's a lot of craziness in the world, and if you're not on top of your mental health,
These days was crazy. They're crazy. They real crazy.
There's a war going on outside. No man is safe from.
You can get caught up in that war. So back to Princella.
Thank you for watching. Now back to the video.
Many people do not understand what sexual independence or sexual freedom is. The majority of people live their lives for sexual fulfillment. They don't feel that they're worthy without that access to sex. So you have to be sexually disciplined to retain that energy, because sexual energy is life force energy.
Wow.
When you drain that energy, you deplete yourself and prevent yourself from rising to a new level of adulthood. So these are the 6 areas in which people need to become independent in order to grow up. So there's an old saying that when I became a man, I put down childish things. When I was a child, I spake as a child. But now that I'm adult, I put that away. Well, that's profound, but they never tell you what the childish things are. The childish things are the inability to accept truth without fantasy and dependency. You have to be independent. So the state of independence is where you become an adult. From there, When you become an adult and you find your true self, you also find your true value, your value add to society. When you get to interdependence, this is when independent people connect and add their gifts, their true value to something outside of themselves to serve the people. That is where, so when you get to the interdependent level, this is where value is found. This is where sovereignty is found. This is where freedom is found. This is where your friendships are found. So at the bottom, which is where the majority of people are, no matter what pyramid that you look at, the majority of the people will be at the bottom of that pyramid. Doesn't matter if you're looking at the financial market, the fitness market, the social media market, the top 1% are always going to be at the top and everybody else is going to be at the bottom. And
the bottom is called them asses, the masses, the masses. Are you at the bottom? Some people are. Everybody can't be at the top. It's lonely at the top. But know where you are. But yeah, that's very important to understand that, And a lot of people might ridicule you and call you arrogant. And you think you this and you better than this and that. You better than everybody, this and that. Yeah, everybody's not the same. All right, let her cook, Princella. Back to Princella.
When it comes to codependency and relationships, that's where people are at the bottom. So relationships are for people at the bottom, partnerships are for people at the top, and your solo path is for the independent person to find their way.
And what percentage of the population are having these dysfunctional?
So what I would like, so mathematically, I like to use something that is very static across the board, and that is the normal distribution curve, which will be the standard deviation bell curve. So in the middle, the mean is about 68.4% roughly. Okay. So from the mean back, and even from 2 standard deviations backwards, is the majority of the population. So the mean, most people are focused heavily on trying to get their basic needs met. 3 standard deviations from the mean to the left is just the absolute bottom of the barrel. So even if we were talking about school, the 3 standard deviations to the left, we're looking at somebody who has a 0.5 GPA, did absolutely nothing in school. And then 3 standard deviations to the right, we're looking at a absolute genius who never missed a question a day in their life, all through school. Then you have the mean, which will be the average student, a C student, which is about 68% of the population. Then you have 13.2 that is just below maybe a D area, C minus, somewhere right in there. Okay. The majority of humans who are stuck at the bottom, I would say, is 2 standard deviations from the mean to the right all the way back. All the way back. So that's a lot of people. So we would probably be looking at about 85, 90, 95 somewhere percent. And so
most people are slow. I mean, that's just the facts. Whether or not applying themselves or, trauma in their lives, whatever happened that stunted their intelligence or mental growth, or they wanted to be cool, and so they hid the brilliance. Most people, them asses, are in that lower level, right? So if you consider yourself that, I mean, that's a weird thing. I mean, saying, I'm whatever. Just understand that most people you come across are going to fall into that category. Let Princella cook.
Even in relationships with the top dogs, like the alpha male, they see themselves at the far right of the distribution curve, at the top of the hierarchy, money, looks, status, all of that. And then they beat their chest to taunt the guys below them, right? Because that's where the majority of them, and this is how a lot of them make money, off of those people who aspire to have these lifestyles and these images, and they can be sold by people who actually have them. So this is it's a conundrum that we have to face, but I believe that if the truth will set us free, if we can accept these harsh truths about reality, that's a great starting point to be able to move yourself up into a different percentile, to have a better experience in life.
Are your views shaped more by personal experience, observation, or data, or
all three? So I'm ex-military. I spent 8 years in the military. I got commissioned as an officer. I have a lot of experience there. I was top salesperson in the car industry. I've driven trucks. I've had relationships with guys. I do a lot of studying and listening to people online as well. And then I have a background in cell and molecular biology. So I went to school at LSUS for that. So I've compiled all of that information together to really get a good picture. So I read a lot of peer-reviewed studies, research. I'm heavy into science and human behavior and just making sense of everything that's around. So this is inclusive of personal experience, professional experience, as well as educational experience. And
what does a successful life look like for a woman who adopts your philosophy?
Well, everything is relative. And so this is when I say, I was telling you about Albert Einstein's theory of relativity, that his view of relativity in terms of time was based on the position in which you are viewing light coming to you, right? So depending on where you are, time seems different. It seems to pass differently. Okay, that's relative to your position, but that is not limited to time. That extends even into our experiences and how we view truth. So for me as a person who is completely whole within myself, I am mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, physically, and sexually free and independent. For me, I don't need quote unquote relationships to make me feel whole. What I need specifically for me is a purpose that benefits others, that can help elevate somebody's life. So for me, what success looks like is peace, solitude, a close friend whom I can trust and that is supportive and accepts me for who I am without any of the theatrics. That's success to conflict. Well, by nature, human.
I'm sorry, guys. I just took it way back.
You might be underestimating.
I just wanted to give her.
Wouldn't be the first time. The big drug.
I just want to give her some applause. There was some bars right there, right? Hold up. Wait a minute. I'll get back. All right, here we go.
I need specifically for me is a purpose that benefits others, that can help elevate somebody's life. So for me, what success looks like is peace, solitude, a close friend whom I can trust and that is supportive and accepts me for who I am without any of the theatrics. That's success to me. I value peace, I value quiet, and I value the ability to be able to speak truth and get ideas out into the world. Not everybody thinks that way.
No.
So what is success for somebody in a position who desires a romantic partner? Well, here's the thing about romance. The very definition of romance is an idealized view of reality. It's not real. It's something in your head. So what is success for a person who is average? Because I don't see myself as average, because the majority of people don't think like me and they don't value the things that I value. Most people value relationships in the idea, a picture. They value an image. Well, you have to live a lie. You have to ignore a lot of reality to even pursue something like that. Because the truth about male and female is diametrically opposed. The interests of the male are not the interests of the female. The male does not see the world in the same way that the female does, and there's a legitimate reason for that. But neither of them really understand each other. So I would need to know, what does the person actually want? Do you want peace? Do you want prosperity? But I don't think people really want that.
Stay out of the way.
I think that people have very carnal desires, and it's really hard if a person doesn't tell me what they truly want, to tell me what they can do in life or how they can experience that term of success. Because from my point of view, a lot of people don't see my lifestyle as success. It's boring to them.
Is the goal,
Mm-hmm.
in your view, to be so independent that you don't need anyone? And then if you happen to meet somebody who can make your life better and you can make their life better, then that's worth making a partnership.
So that's the problem. Humans base their connections on need, not want.
Huh?
Start no shit, won't be no shit.
Is she cooking or nah? Huh?
Don't start no shit, won't be no shit. Now don't fuck shit up.
I mean, people don't want to hear the truth, but she's telling a lot of truth, right? And man, woman, different ages. If you're watching this, some of this could hit home and that truth might hurt, but all you gotta do is tell yourself, right? Let her cook. Princella.
Right? If you need somebody to feed you, the person that you give the power to feed you will also have the power to starve you. Right? So you never want to move based in need, because if you move based in need, when it's time to cut somebody off or move on, you're going to be compromised. You're not going to be able to make the decisions that you need to make. So to build a life of peace, if you have that already, at this stage in the ballgame, what you're now looking for, you're looking for somebody to bring an essence. If you're going to let that person into this sacred space, that person has to bring an essence with them that doesn't disrupt your peace, but adds to and expands your peace. So I like to speak in terms of physics and electromagnetism and things like this. When you look at a wave pattern, everything is based in waves and frequencies. When you amplify a sound, okay, you get waves that are very similar in pattern, and when they come together, they amplify the amplitude. The amplitude goes higher when they're in coherence, okay? But when you get two opposing frequencies that come from different directions, they cancel each other out. Okay. What you want is an amplification of who you are. You don't want something that's diametrically opposed to you. When you move in need, you're oftentimes getting something that's different but similar to you. And that's something that people can't really understand because it's a paradox. I like to look at it in terms of Newton's laws of motion. Newton's third law of motion, if every action elicits an equal and opposite reaction. Okay, so a better way to say that is if body A imposes a force on body B imposes a force on body A, that's equal in magnitude but opposite in direction. So basically, when you smash like this, right, you're hitting each other head on. That's a similar force. You're imposing the same force on each other, but you're pushing each other backwards in opposite directions. Well, when males and females meet each other, you are meeting each other diametrically opposed to each other. And then you're drawn to each other in a way, it seems that you're different. You are different, but you're the same at the same time because you're on the same level. And what's happening is you all are clashing really hard, pushing this force on each other, and then you're pushing each other back, and you don't understand why you're doing that. The reason why that's happening is because of the incompleteness and the energy of need that's drawing you together so strongly that you clash, and then you start to push each other back.
God damn it. Is she cooking or not? Hey, bro. Princella Clark is cooking. Soft white underbelly. Shout out to them. Hey, I'm just here to, I'm just sharing it with my people. And, I mean, not that they need my help, but she is cooking on every level and every aspect and telling every truth that needs to be told. And that's why I'm here at 4 and almost 5 in the morning on the Chief and Go live. Oh, I'm sorry, on the Chief and Go. It's not live, but sharing this with y'all for the culture, y'all. Get it, Princella. Cook it up.
Like that. So I believe that when you operate as a whole and complete person, you function more like a battery as opposed to a magnet. A magnet is drawn to the opposite pole. It doesn't have any value unless it's being drawn to hold something together. So there's an energy between the magnet that's drawing it together. The difference with a battery is that a battery has both poles within it, the positive and the negative end within it. And you can stack plenty of batteries up together, and they can work together to charge a device outside of themselves. Okay. That's what I would say is interdependence. I would look at codependence as a magnet that is looking to complete itself. All right. And so most people operate like magnets. Well, you can only put 2 magnets together. You can't put several of them to work together like that because they're too busy trying to complete their identity.
Lemonade, pet, insurance. 3 words you've probably never heard used together. A drink, your best.
If people complete themselves and link up with other completed people, you would have a better relationship if you could accept each other in your wholeness. The problem is people can't accept each other in their wholeness because they're too power driven. Let me get control over you before you get control over me. I need to control this relationship. The reason why they need to control the relationship is because males and females harm each other. The nature of males and females harm each other. The female harms the male in ways that she does not understand. She can't.
That goes back to Adam and Eve, and we can, centuries and eons of the woman and the man, and this opposite polarity in Mars and Venus, and the dynamics, the moon, the sun, and it shouldn't be like that, but it's just facts. And that's why part of it is to learn to coexist. Okay. Let her cook. I'm sorry. I can't cook it like she cooks. She cooking it up. Princella Clark, the soft white underbelly, y'all. Shout out to them.
See herself. And so the male is feeling, he sees who she is. She can't see herself. She doesn't understand how her behaviors hurt him.
That part.
Well, for males, okay, I'm just drawn to females. I have to be with a woman.
Facts.
But if I'm going to be with them, I need to figure out how I can control them so it's less painful for me. Well, the female is doing the same thing. The male harms the female in ways that he doesn't understand, which drives her to seek power to try to control him so that she feels more comfortable. This is what's happening. When you get rid of that and you become whole and accept the truth, all of that conflict goes away and you can work more cohesively. And the reason why you can do this more cohesively is because you can now base your relationship on truth. Nobody has to pretend to be something that they're not.
Exactly.
Nobody has to get into relationships under the guise that I really like you, but what I'm really doing here is using you so that you can help me get to a new level. Or I'm using you so you can help me take care of my bills. All of that goes away. The control dynamics go away when you can accept people for who they are. But in order to do that, you need to base that on truth. And most people don't like the truth. So no, I don't think that, I don't really think that you can work together if you need each other in these ways that humans need each other to stop the pain and suffering. I don't think so.
Sad.
What do men fundamentally misunderstand about women?
So, I think men are coming to a lot of conclusions more so now than previously before, but fundamentally, men don't understand that women want to live in fantasy. That's ultimately what women want. They want everything and they want things to go their way. And I don't think that men really understand that, but I do think that they're coming to these conclusions now. So it's not so much of what men don't understand about women, because the conversation is always around men, you need to do this to get along with a woman. It's never the other way around though. So no matter how much you get a man to change, he could be the best person, he could do everything, and the relationship is still going to have problems. And the reason for that is because women are not being told about who they are and what they are doing that is causing a lot of the other issues that they're having. So I believe that the focus shouldn't be on what men don't understand about women, because the manosphere, contrary to what everybody says about that movement started based on truth, the relative truth of the male experience. And I do believe that humans ultimately hate themselves. Humans hate themselves because if you tell the truth about the male species, you will hear something along the lines, oh, you just hate men. Oh, you're misandrous. If a man tells the truth about a woman or women in general, you will hear something along the lines, you're woman bashing. You hate women. You're a misogynist. I believe that ultimately misogyny and misandry is based on hearing truths about your gender that you can't take. I don't think that it's rooted in actual hate. There are some aspects that can lead to exacerbated points of views that can lead to hate, but generally just calling out people's behavior is seen as bashing and hateful. So I think that the conversation more so needs to be for women to understand men, because women don't really understand anything about men.
Huh?
Don't
Say it
start
again.
no shit, won't be no shit now, don't fuck shit up.
Huh?
Don't start no shit, won't be no shit now, don't fuck shit up. These days the world's crazy. They're crazy, they real crazy. It's nothing but the devil and evil. They're crazy, they real crazy. It's nothing but the devil and evil.
Nah, real talk though. Real talk, y'all. Come on. Can I take that one back a little bit? Just a little bit. for all the ladies in the back that, you know, it ain't good enough. The Cheesecake Factory ain't good enough. And he gonna have to do this on the first date, and he gonna have to do this. He gotta buy this and this and that. He gonna pay for everything. Hey man, what about the struggle he going through? Come on, Princella. Talk to him, man. We gotta set this straight. I don't think y'all looking at this right.
More so needs to be for women to understand men, because women don't really understand anything about men, which is helping the male move more towards the positions that he's in relative to relationships, if that makes sense.
Oh, it makes sense to me.
If you're thinking about selling your
That makes
house,
complete
but the
sense to
whole
me.
process feels like
How
a
about y'all?
nightmare, listen to this.
How about y'all?
How does your philosophy apply to women who want long-term partnership or marriage?
Where they at?
So the question is what does a long-term partnership in a marriage look like for the woman? Because you can be in a long-term partnership in a marriage and be in total hell, right? You don't have to divorce. You can just sit there and tolerate what's happening. So what does that look like? If a woman wants a long-term, happy, fulfilling relationship, the truth of the matter is she will have to lie to herself and help the male lie to her, because the woman is not going to be able to accept the reality of relationships and the male. So I have an explanation to really.
What do you mean by that?
Which in terms of lying?
She needs to understand what.
Okay, so the woman believes that the male should take care of everything. She also believes that he should worship the ground that she walks on for eternity, that he shouldn't value any other woman, see any other woman attractive. She thinks that he should carry the weight of everything for her. This is a fundamental flaw, because that's what women think of men as: the savior, the person that's supposed to lead everything, take care of her bills. They really do think this way. That's a problem, because that goes directly against the nature of the male and the capabilities of the male. We blame patriarchy for what's going on, but men are suffering under patriarchy. Both humans, both the male and the female, are suffering under patriarchy. But the woman can't see what men actually go through. In a woman's eyes, she's the only one suffering in the world. Because of the term patriarchy, there is this idea that men are just so, like the majority of men are just benefiting from this, and that they have the ability to just ease the pain and the suffering of a woman. But women don't understand what men are actually dealing with. They don't understand that men are crushing under the weight of the world, and they don't understand why. Well, when you don't understand that, you really become a narcissist in relationships. It starts to only be about you.
And you know what? You know what, ladies? This has to change tonight. Nah, but for real, y'all, Princella Clark, the soft white underbelly. Shout out to the YouTube page. Y'all make sure y'all go subscribe. I'm definitely going to put the links in. Soft white underbelly. Why men and women are not compatible. Princella Clark. That's the whole joint, which I damn near played here on the Chief and Go. And they might block me and, you know, hit me for copyright and all that. And that's cool, because I just love this information and how detailed and deep and descriptive she's getting. And she's not picking sides. Right? Real talk. Real talk. Clapping it up for Princella Clark. Because
they're crazy. They real crazy.
There's a war going on outside. No man is safe from. Your mic, we major. You're all.
Pause flag on the play. That wasn't the sample I wanted to play, but
These days it was crazy.
Yeah, man, you just
Make
gotta
money, stay out of the way.
All right, back to Princella. Let her cook. Let her cook.
And the person that's being crushed, who you can't recognize is suffering and holding too much weight, you begin to lack appreciation and respect for the burdens that the person is carrying.
So true.
So women don't see men in terms of actual humans.
Wow.
Women have a character and an idea in their head about who he's supposed to be. If she's going to be in a long-term happy relationship with that mentality, the fact of the matter is the man has to uphold a lie. She has to lie to herself, and he has to help her lie to herself. He can't expose the truth to her because she can't tolerate the truth. The truth is he can't tell a woman how much pressure he's under. He can't tell the woman he can't do that because she's looking for a knight in shining armor who worships the ground that she walks on. She can't see his humanity. And that's a problem. So if a woman wants to if she wants to have a healthy, happy relationship with a man, she can't know the truth about anything.
Try our team for 7 days, and if you're not impressed, you don't even have to pay us. We will help you strategize, ideate, script, film, edit.
What are we doing here? What are we doing here? You know, it's crazy, but it's reality. I'm sorry. Wait a minute. I'm messing up. Yeah, that's just what it is.
That's a problem. So if a woman wants to if she wants to have a healthy, happy relationship with a man, she can't know the truth about anything. And that's the God honest truth. So how I like to describe it, because I use a diagram when I teach my students so that they can see what the male is actually dealing with and what we expect out of him. So I take a circle and I split it in half and I say, chromosomally, males donate 23 chromosomes and females donate 23 chromosomes to create a human, which is a 46 chromosome organism. Based on those numbers, that looks half and half. It looks equal, right? But that's not the truth about reality. In order to know the truth about who is taking on weight and what people are actually capable of doing, you have to look in terms of risk taken to reproduce, because the whole purpose of humans biologically is to survive and reproduce.
Okay. So for all my fellas, for all my men that's watching this right now, it's gonna get heavy on us right now. She's gonna tell some truth. She's gonna give some percentages. That's all factual. But I mean, if you're a real man, you already know the woman, right? The goddess, the mother, right? The mother of everything, the mother of the universe, like the womb man, right? This is the life bringer, right? Through that canal, you know. She gonna tell some truth that y'all might not want to hear. She gonna get some percentages, but they gonna be accurate.
Don't start no shit, won't be no shit now. Don't fuck shit up.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're an insecure man, you know, you got a little man complex, and you know, you don't want to see the reality for what it is, because she didn't gave a lot of reality that she wasn't on the man or the woman's side through this whole talk, right? But she about to lay it out in percentages, and it might get real for you, but just look at it objectively and look at it honestly and understand this aspect of what she's saying, because it's all facts. Princella clock, y'all. Let's get back to it. She cooking in a mug, Slim. Hey, she cooking in a mug, Slim.
That is what you're optimized for. That is what you're designed for. So that's what we have to look at. So I take 5 things and I say, let's look at the risks. Who's taking the risks for reproduction? So I'll say STIs. Between the male and the female, which one is going to be most impacted by STDs? Who's taking the biggest risk, the male or the female? In terms of STIs, the female is taking the biggest risk for catching STIs because she has open organs. That risk is less for a man. Okay. In terms of death and violence, if you want to meet up with a random person or who's more at risk for dying and being hurt? Is the male more at risk being involved with a female, or is she more at risk being involved with him? She takes the bigger risk. So what initially looked like 50-50 is now shifting from 50-50 to 60-40 to 70-30. The male at this point is only taking 30% of the risk, while she's taking 70% of the risk to reproduce, or 80%, because we only did 2. How about who's the one that's going to get left with the child? Is it the man? Is he taking the risk on becoming a single parent, or is it the woman? Her. So now we're down to 70-30 in terms of risk. How about mental health and emotional health decline due to reproduction?
Postpartum.
Is the male taking that risk? So now we're down to like 90-10. Last one. Who's taking the risk of losing out on opportunities for reproduction? The male or the female? The female. So what looked like 50-50 risk taken at the outset, chromosomal donation, is now down to 95-10. 95-5 in terms of risk taking. Well, crazy. Why does that matter? Because nature is cheap. Nature is not going to give the male features that he doesn't need. So the male is not optimized in a way that the female is optimized based on reproduction and risk taking. So the male is missing critical aspects of his development in relation to the female.
That's what we be trying to tell them, yeah. That's what we try to tell y'all. Yeah, man, I ain't, you know what I'm saying? Nah, I was just saying, I seen Shawty. It was like, nah, it wasn't even about none of that. Just, we physical and we visual. The sun and the moon, and hey, women emotional, and when men cheat because of, basically you if your options if you got options, then basically if a woman throwing it at you as faithful as your options, as they say. And a woman is usually because there's something lacking at home emotionally. The man ain't talking to her, he's not calling her beautiful enough, he's not giving her that attention she wants. And and she's going to work, and that work husband is buying her coffee every morning and giving her all the, sport coat is telling her, "You're beautiful, I love you, you're so nice, and you're so sweet, you do this so great," and then she's growing closer to him because you're not doing that at home, but you have all these other things going on. Sometimes it's just man is busy working, trying to pay them bills. As she said, all these things get put on a man. And I'm not excusing men that just frivolously cheat, or women, but this is a great breakdown, I think, by Princella Clark. And yeah, the risk factor though, that breakdown was crazy. It was like, oh yeah, there's a lot more risk. But we're different creatures, and it's just what it is, just nature. And it's just, God set it up a certain way, And society has, and especially American society, has then turned it and twisted it and flipped it all around, and we all confused. And slavery and our DNA and bucking slaves and massa getting with the with the slaves, and then Mandingo getting with massa wife, and I'm the baby pappy. All type of things has been going on over the centuries that are recorded in our DNA. Let's just be clear: everything is recorded in our DNA. That's why we always got to remain true and seek knowledge, and knowledge is self, and knowledge is power. But the application of knowledge is more powerful. So we're doing it for the culture on the Chief and Go. Let's let Princella cook. Let's let her cook. I'm sorry. Yeah, I got to come in because I can't just play their whole joint. But shout out to the soft white underbelly.
Whoa.
What's that?
I just built a budgeting app in Base 44.
Guys,
just...
if we're looking at risk taking, 95.5, it says that the male is not naturally designed for responsibility. He's not naturally designed to carry responsibility because he does not take the risks that the female takes for reproduction.
Okay, so that's the other point I want to get to. I mean, I'm not making an excuse for deadbeat dads, but the way she explained that, yeah, it makes it seem like I'm making an excuse for deadbeat dads. Let me. I'm not doing that. If you laid down and created the child, you should take care of the child. Absolutely. Let's have it up. I know a lot of great fathers. I know a lot of great fathers. The statistics won't say it. I know a lot of great black fathers, and I see a lot more out in the streets of the hood and everywhere I go. And I think, that the statistics are lying. But yeah, absolutely, you should take care of your child. So I'm not making an excuse, but she's giving you the physiological breakdown of why these things may occur in our community, more often. And then you got to remember back to the woman's attitude that even when the father's trying to be a part of the kid's life, and the drama she give him. And I'm not taking sides or none of that. I'm just playing a video. Always remain true. But I mean, I've had my experience, and I just think that Princella Clark is telling a lot of truth, and it's undeniable. On Achieve and Go. Yes, indeed. Hey, right back to Princella. Let her cook, y'all.
Which means since you have most of the risk, you have most of the responsibility biologically. And if you have most of the responsibility, you have more power in terms of your biology, your physiological design. Well, what are we doing to men? The male is not biologically and physiologically designed to carry all that responsibility. But in society, we say, carry all that responsibility. Provide 100%. Protect. Be emotionally invested and supportive. Now, we're looking at 95.5. You put a brick on top of each one of those, for each one of those. If you want the male to provide 100%, but he's not designed to carry this kind of responsibility, but you are. Men, I've done this research. I've done this exercise in classes where there are males and females in the classes. And I say, guys, how much responsibility do you think society wants you to take financially for a woman? The general answer from the men was about 90%. And the woman is only supposed to take care of 10%. That's what the male feels that he has to do, anywhere between 90 and 100% provision. But he's only 5% built to handle that kind of responsibility.
Dear mama, right? Man, keep your head up, right? It's just like, we all look at our mama. We all love our mama, right? A lot of us, we don't know our daddy, or even if we do, we might, we show shade to papa. but it's always dear mama. You know what I'm saying? Dear mama. And it's like, yeah, that responsibility and that ability fell on mama. You know, mama made miracles every Thanksgiving. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like that's just the truth of it, because they were designed to bring a whole person. Let's just look at this. They were designed to bring a whole person into the world. Yeah, the daddy get to come through and have a good time and plant the seed that fertilizes this egg. But mama has to go through the whole 9 and 10 months of carrying the seed as it develops and becomes one with her, right? And then introduce it, produce it to the world, right? Oh God, that's amazing. And even though a sale rocks feels good putting money in your mailbox, mama made miracles every Thanksgiving, working with the scraps she was given. That just like that's we gotta give it applause for the mama. It's amazing, right? That's an amazing thing. And I can't even remember my Tupac lyrics. I'm not even gonna lie. And I know all them joints, you know. When I was young, me and my mama had beefs. 17 years old, kicked out on the streets. But back at the time, I never thought I'd see her face. Ain't a woman alive that could take my mama's place. Spend at school. I was a big kid. I'm fucking up. It's 5:21 in the morning. But I know all them joints by heart. Big kids breaking all the rules. Shed tears with my baby sister. Over the years, we were poured into other little kids. And even though we had different daddies, the same drama, when things were wrong, we blamed mama. I reminisce on the stress I caused. It was hell, hugging on my mama from a jail cell. So, and all my childhood memories is full of all the sweet things she did for me. Yeah, so we love our mamas, and and she's given us a certain breakdown of that, and show, kind of that daddy, Papa was a Rolling Stone. September 11th. What was the joint say? Do 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 do. It was the 3rd day of September. I might be messing all that up. It's late, y'all. But you know, she's given us a perspective of why, right? I mean, kind of scientifically, of how the design of the male and the female, was. Like when we grow up, they tell us that, little girls smarter and they more advanced you know, than the boys. The boys grow up different. They mature slower than girls. I've seen it in real life. My sister is not even a year older than me. We're Irish twins. We the same age for a week. And then as we got older, we talk about stuff. She was like, "Yeah, you ain't know that." Certain topics and subjects come up. She was like, "Yeah, I knew that when we were 6." I was like, "Oh." I thought I was, smart. But and you see this in everyday life. And I got 2 girls, so grateful, thank God for that, right? Because it's just a certain understanding that come with a cosmic understanding that comes with the female. And I think she's doing a great job of explaining that, as well as the male perspective. It's 5:23 in the morning. It's the Chief and Go. We're gonna let Princella cook.
But she 95. So now we got this weight on him. Then we put the weight on him to protect. That's challenging. You know why? Because the only risks that males actually take, would say 3% of the risk, is him having to compete with other males in the wild to get opportunities to procreate and pass his genes along.
Because you don't
Well, in
want some wild shit.
society, we want to keep everybody because nature says survival of the fittest. But we don't let nature take its course. We keep everybody. So all of the males that you keep are not actually the ones that can survive because they're the fittest, but we still put that responsibility on them. So what we end up with is more males who are very fearful of other males, fearful of competition, but we still expect them to protect. So we got that weight on them. We expect them to take care of the bills and everything. We expect them to go against their fear to protect you. Well, here's the problem with women. Women love attention. They like to garner attention from other males, and they like to test males to intentionally get them into competition with other males. The male understands this, and she doesn't understand that she's putting him in a dangerous position. This is the reason why men kind of want to control women, what you wear, how you walk out into the public, because you don't realize as a woman how your behaviors affect the male and what consequences he has to deal with engaging you in your nature. So we got this 5% male capability of holding responsibility. We need him to pay all the bills. We need him to protect. And then we also want him to be an effective communicator and deeply emotionally invested.
Okay, I gotta touch on that because you want to walk around with half your ass cheeks out, you know what I'm talking about, and everything pushed up, and your eyelashes look like motherfucking tarantulas. You know what I'm talking about? It's just hello, hey, look at me. Look at me. I'm fuckable, right? Hittable. You know what I mean? Why? Now we got to go out somewhere, to the movies, to dinner, to a club, to a comedy show, to a concert, right? Let me do this like this. And then we got to go out, somewhere. Where's gonna be other men? The competition, like she said, right? And they thirsty. Because men are thirsty. That's the nature of men. They like, hey, look at that joint. Hey, Slim. Right? And so now I gotta walk by them dudes in the parking lot that's just hanging and chilling and drinking and smoking, and have your ass hanging out. And he said, I do that for you. I put that on for you. I put, because I want you to see, I can see it in the bedroom. I can see when you take it all off. Well, nobody get to see me naked but you. Well, they damn near seen you naked. You got on the shit, your ass out, your cleavage out, you got on the makeup, and you dress like a goddamn hooker, the prostitute, or like my Uncle Al would say, a whore. A goddamn street whore. And they looking at me like, is this nigga the pimp? Like, hey, bro, how much, And so they could say some disrespectful shit. So it's me and you, we walking into the establishment, and there's 7 niggas that's gonna be talk disrespectful, right? They're gonna say all type of shit. So now as a man, I'm providing and protecting, right? And so I got to walk by them and figure out, am I taking penitentiary chances or chances on my life? I don't know who got 30s and 40s and extendos and sticks, and you know what I'm talking about? Are they gonna shoot me? Are they gonna jump me? All because I'm like, hey man, hey Slim, hey, watch your mouth. That's my woman. That's my wifey right there. And them niggas like, well, damn, half her ass out, bro. Like, I'm just saying, I mean, what you expect me to do? And as a man, you can't even be like, well, you You all right about that, bro. You ass fat though, ain't it though, bro? You know. So in a sense, you proud, you know, it's like that's hey, look, that's me. But in the other sense is, you know, you can't tolerate disrespect. So that's the type of situations women put men in. Right? And then depending on how it transpires and what you do, and you know, oh, you ain't saying nothing to them niggas, and then, you know, it could go one way or the other. Right? So if you man up and cuss them niggas out, them niggas might fall back and say, yeah, Slim held it down, you know. Yeah, he goes, ain't respect, right? Or you might get the wrong niggas on the wrong night off the wrong drink, off the wrong drug. Fuck you, bitch ass nigga, you know, blah, blah, blah. And now fight niggas not get jumped. And then I'm gonna be a bitch ass nigga for getting jumped. Oh yeah, them niggas fucked you up. This and that. Bitch, it's all cause your ass was out. Okay. Yeah. So let's get back to the regularly scheduled program. Cause she cooking. She talking that truth. Right? That most women don't want to speak this truth.
That's difficult because the male is not wired with features for caregiving. That was the female's responsibility. You carried a child. So you have features and abilities that the male does not have. But the women want him to have things that he doesn't. So this puts a male in a very compromising position.
Fact.
He has to lie. He has to give the air that he can do things that he knows he can't do, because women demand that he does it, because women don't like the truth and reality. So in her mind, even though we're dealing with a 5% person, 5% capability of responsibility carrying, she still wants him to be the knight in shining armor, to save her from herself, to protect her from the harsh truths of reality. That's a lot of weight and pressure for a man.
To save her from herself.
And a lot of males are struggling and failing under all of that pressure. And this is the reason why the male suicide rates are higher than females. This is the reason why with male homelessness. This is the reason for red pill. This is the reason for the manosphere. That is the source of all of the problems just in society. Well, guess what? You're getting two people in these conditions constantly trying to get in relationships with each other. Wow. And so because the female behaves this way, the males turn to Andrew Tate. They turn to Kevin Samuels. They turn to all of these outlets where men can finally speak how they feel and try to gain some form of control so that they can ease their suffering. So because the male is at the 5% mark in terms of responsibility, if the woman wants him to take on all of these duties, what is the most logical thing that has to happen? The woman has to be controlled. She has to be capped in order to give the male the head start so that he can have access to the finances. He can control her because she can't control her own mouth. Women will hit below the belt. They will antagonize a male who is already beaten up. He has to be capped in order to give the male the head start so that he can have access to the finances. He can control her because she can't control her own mouth. Women will hit below the belt. They will antagonize a male who is already beaten up by life. But from the perspective of the woman, because the word is patriarchy, in her mind, all males are benefiting. This system is designed for males. They're winning. I'm the victim. And they move like that. And when they get in relationships with the victim mentality, with the lack of understanding of who they're trying to get into a relationship with, you build up more narcissism. You build up an identity of victimhood. You build males are benefiting. This system is designed for males. They're winning. I'm the victim. The head start so that he can have access to the finances. He can control her because she can't control her own mouth. Women will hit below the belt.
Wait a minute, one more time.
They mark.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm getting carried away.
In terms of responsibility, if the woman wants him to take on all of these duties, what is the most logical thing that has to happen? The woman has to be controlled. She has to be capped in order to give the male the head start so that he can have access to the finances. He can control her because she can't control her own mouth. Women will hit below the belt. They will antagonize a male who is already beaten up by life. But from the perspective of the woman, because the word is patriarchy, in her mind, all males are benefiting. This system is designed for males. They're winning. I'm the victim. And they move like that. And when they get in relationships with the victim mentality, with the lack of understanding of who they're trying to get into a relationship with, you build up more narcissism.
We got to touch on that. I've got to touch on that. The sassiness, the entitlement, right? And you gotta do this, and you supposed to do this, and you hold my door open, and you ain't carry my bags, and this and that, and I was in the other day, the young boys talking to me, and then niggas trying to holler at me, and you don't even tell me that, and the nigga in the street tell me I was beautiful and gorgeous, and you don't even tell me all that, man. I'm around you, you be farting and shit, okay? You be farting loud. You don't have no cut cards, and I mean, yeah, I mean, you are beautiful, but that's why we together, because you beautiful. And and you funny and all the shit that you are. That's why we together. And at some point, yeah, I'm not saying it every 10 minutes, but of course the bama at the liquor store and at the, the grocery store where you're at the club or wherever you seen them. Hey, yeah, hey, beautiful. Yeah. What's up with your man? He ain't treating you right and all that. That's what men do, right? They try to infiltrate your program. You gotta be strong enough to know that if you chose me and we together, right, that this is what you chose. And you got your ass out. Always remain true, ho. No disrespect. Right? But the expectations are unreal and unrealistic. I want the white picket fence, and he ain't put a ring on my finger, and and this and that, and we've been together for this long. But how are you acting? What are you bringing? What value are you bringing to this partnership? Right? What stress are you bringing? Are you bringing peace or are you bringing stress? Right? Are you bringing headache? So she dropping it. She giving y'all she giving y'all that, right? Princella Clark is giving y'all that work, that truth that I know a lot of y'all don't, AB dubs don't want to hear. American black women, which almost always translates to angry black women, right? I don't know what the hell it is, but it's just a fact, right? Like, calm down, recognize and smell the cheetah pussy. All right? Come on, see what's going on. Understand what the man going through. You'll have a good man and you would be treating him like shit off some past experience, off some daddy issues, right? Go to therapy, tap into your trauma, tap into what created the animal that you are that make you think the way you think, right? Tap into that. Why do you think the way you think? Why are your expectations what they are? What did you watch your mother and father do? What did you watch your father do? What did you watch your mother do? What you watch your auntie do? Right? What did you do? Right? Tap into it. Was you molested by your uncle? Tap into why you are looking at men a certain way and why you're looking at your partner a certain way if you chose that person as your partner, right? Tap into the respect you have for that partner. Tap into the shit you say, right? Have some goddamn respect. A lot of these women are way out of line with, you know, the way they talk to men, right? We ain't talking about them 1940s. And when we say being submissive or, you know, being following the head, the man being the head, it's an energy thing. The man is the sun. He's critical thinking. He's logical, right? He's looking at stuff practically. Women are emotional. They have clairvoyance. A lot of women have a lot of insight and emotion. Their emotion could read the future in a certain way or look at stuff certain way too. And men gotta be able to adhere to that. And that's what make a great combination, right? But a lot of these women is like, yeah, if this nigga ain't buying this and this and that bitch, and yeah, bitch, and what in the fuck, you know, man, grow up, you know, and you know what type of shoes you in, and what type of, you know, man, it'd be a lot of falsities out here, chasing the Joneses and what's going Joneses, and man, this video is great, and it's gonna go down. Look, and I don't know because like I'm getting this from you know, I'm playing a lot of this stuff from Soft White Underbelly. Y'all make sure y'all go follow them and subscribe. So it's not like I'm trying to be a thief. I'm just trying to add on to it and add my perspective. But yeah, like a lot of women got stuff twisted these days. Y'all watching the Bad Girls, Baddies, and the Baddies Club and all this old bullshit, Natalie and all them whack ass, crazy ass, you know, non-home training having, and I ain't gonna say they don't got no home training. They coming on and they get on that camera. They presenting something to you that might not even be real. Love and hip hop and the basketball wives and pouring drinks on people and you know all this ridiculous, immature, you know, foolery. Okay, so but that's not the basis of a relationship and respect, right? And a cohesive relationship, right? A give and take, a understanding. That's what make a relationship work. Communication, right? And the give and take. And it's like about okay, and you know, compromise, right? People that's married, they compromise. People that's married for 50 years and shit, you think they don't have drama and they ain't been through infidelity and you know, a lot of these things. No, they just decided to work through it because okay, I chose this person through sickness and health, for better, for worse. You know what I mean? And that was important to them when they took that oath. And a lot of people take that oath and it's not important to them. They doing it for the moment. They doing it for what other people think, or they, you know, what they felt at the moment, even maybe. I don't know. I never been married. That's a, you know, that's a strong thing. That's a heavy thing. That's serious. I'm not just jumping out there, right? But a lot of people get married and get divorced in the first year, in the first 2 years. And I know people that have been married for 20 years. But what I'm gonna tell you is they go through some things, right? But the key to it is communication and compromise and that love and respect for your partner, right? But these days, from what I'm seeing, is a lot of these women and you know are just very unreasonable, unstable, you know, and a lot of these men are not men, right? They're raised by their mama. They got a lot of feminine traits and the feminine ways, and that's who's creating this whole retarded world we're living in, and people killing each other and killing, you know, couples and you know riding from state to state. Niggas riding from South Carolina to Bowie and killing his ex-wife or ex-girl because she living with another dude and going to jail. You know, it's just like wow, you know, retardedness. I mean, I hate to use that word, but just I mean, and that's just what it is. So, and I feel like Princella Clark tapped into a lot of the roots of why, right? Why the emotions, like what's going on, and so that's why I'm here on the Chief and Go. And I'm gonna get back to the goddamn video. Let her cook.
You build up an identity of victimhood. You build a selfish individual who expects the world. Because as long as you keep hearing, oh, the man is supposed to provide, he's supposed to lead, you build a mentality of a person that believes that you owe them to give them. So this is the problem within the relationship dynamics. It's not so much so that we need to be focused on telling men, oh, this is what you need to do to get along with a woman. That's been the conversation for a long time. You've never had this conversation about what men are actually dealing with, which is assisting and causing the problems because women are totally ignorant and blind to the male issue. So I believe the conversation needs to shift from what men need to do to get along with women, and it needs to shift to women needing to understand who men are, what they're dealing with, and why they're dealing with what they're dealing with. And I think that would help a great deal.
Websites your competitors don't want you to know.
Is exactly right.
All you do is go to this website, and it lets you find out exactly.
Guys.
Interesting.
Yes.
Do you think today's dating culture is broken or just revealing truths that were always there?
Revealing truths that's always there. There's nothing new under the sun. Over the years, we have been intentionally kept away from information. This is the first time where we've actually had direct insight into other people's lives, other people's problems. Before the internet, you could hear somebody complaining and somebody could just tell you, oh, it's just a person you chose. And you had no way of proving that. But see, now that you have access to everybody's house, you have access to everybody's thoughts, more and more people are revealing what has always been there. They're expressing the things that have been swept under the rug. So this is the age of Aquarius, the age of enlightenment, the age of unveiling. And the truth will set you free, but before it sets you free, it's going to hurt. Right. And we need to realize that as a species, a human species, we are below standard collectively. Humans are below standard. And if you asked an alien, I think that we're the special ed species of the entire galaxy.
Hey, yeah.
I do.
Go ahead.
I do. I think we have a long way to go. And I think this is just the beginning of us being able to correct some things.
That's true. That's true.
What do you think the most uncomfortable truth about women is that's rarely spoken about?
That women are 1,000 times more narcissistic than males. I think the entire human species is a narcissistic species.
Run, Joe.
The whole species is narcissistic. But I believe that the most uncomfortable truth for the average person is that women are actually narcissistic, more narcissistic than males. It's not that males are not narcissistic, it's that women are 1,000 times more narcissistic. I've never heard a saying that, oh, you just have to love your father no matter what he did because that's your only dad, you only get one.
How about
I
that?
never hear that. I always hear it about a woman, no matter what a mother did to her children, no matter what, that's your mama. You still need to love your mom, no matter what she did. I hear women say, no matter what a woman does, a man should never put his hands on her.
Won't be no shit now.
And women believe they can do anything to you.
Don't fuck shit
and
up.
Expect that you accept it and still worship the ground they
no
walk
shit.
on.
Won't be
So
no shit.
if anything is going to improve, the truth about the psychology of women has to be revealed. It's a dark place. It's not peaches and cream because women think that they can abuse you. Women think that they can talk to you any kind of way. They think they can put their hands on you and then they expect you to still speak of them as angels.
Right.
That's bad because that behavior trickles down to their children.
It's nothing but the devil.
So they end up abusing their children. Women are very abusive to their children and they don't even understand in what ways they're abusive to their children.
They're crazy.
And you can't tell them anything because they do no wrong. in their eyes. I try to tell women
let me bring that back.
that even when it comes to them as angels,
I don't know.
that
Like when
truth about the
sound effect,
psychology of women has to be revealed. It's a dark place. It's not peaches and cream, because women think that they can abuse you. Women think that they can talk to you any kind of way. They think they can put their hands on you, and then they expect you to still speak of them as angels. That's bad, because that behavior trickles down to their children. So they end up abusing their children. Women are very abusive to their children, and they don't even understand in what ways they're abusive to their children. And you can't tell them anything.
I'm gonna tell you in what ways. They be like, you ain't gonna never be shit, just like your father wasn't shit. And that motherfucker left me when I was 14, I was pregnant with you, and he just left out, and I ain't had nothing, and that motherfucker didn't care about you. He don't care about me, and you gonna be just like him, and you ain't shit just like your goddamn father. Okay, my bad. Let her cook. Let her cook. Let her cook, y'all.
Because they do no wrong in their eyes. I try to tell women that even when it comes to their sons, most women set their sons up for failure, and they don't even understand why they set their sons up for failure. And they don't understand this because they don't understand the nature of the male, the physiology, the neurology of the male. They don't understand the male's existence. Most parents, specifically women, because it's most single parents are women, you hear them say something like, I just wanted to give my child the things I never had.
Some bullshit.
And if it's a woman saying that, and she has a son, this is bad, because you're not thinking about the development of your child. You're trying to make up for your own childhood through your child, giving them things that you never had.
Because let's just be honest, when you come up with certain things that you don't have, you come up with those certain things that you don't have, it builds character, it builds drive, right? When you come up and you don't have everything handed to you and given to you, and every time you just fall down and scrape your knee, and mama just, oh baby, it's all right, and just that extra, right? When you gotta rough through it, when you gotta tough through it, and you gotta make your way, that builds character, that builds drive, that builds the intensity to become a Kobe Bryant, to become a Michael Jordan, to become a Michael Jackson, or the Mike Tyson, right? When you're hungry, you work harder, right? When your stomach full, you get lazy. When if you got if in the summertime the AC pumping and the TV, you got all the channels, you know what I'm talking about? And then you get all the meals you want. You got crab legs and steamed shrimp and everything you like, hamburgers, whatever it is, pizza coming to you, whatever you ask for, right? When we came up and we go to McDonald's, and it wasn't even that McDonald's, whatever it was. It was for dinner. It wasn't no what's for dinner. Our parents didn't ask us what you want to eat tonight. Nigga, no, it's gonna be what they could afford or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't a bunch of what y'all want. And one kid say Taco Bell, one kid say Burger King, and one kid say, no, nigga, this is what we eating, hot dogs and pork and beans. Sardines, hey, and pork and beans, you gonna get what we got, right? We go to the shoe store, all right, then nigga, and I can't even say my parents did this, but I remember I always say, man, look, Mom, I'm good with these joints on sale. Give me these little Nikes right here, because I had an understanding of what we had, and we wasn't dirt poor, but we ain't have it, and I understood, and I felt like, man, do this for I ain't got to do this. Just give me these joints. I'm fine with that. I ain't got to compete with the Joneses, and so as we afford these kids all the luxuries of what they asked for when they want it, as they grow up, they gonna expect that in life. And then when you get out there on your own and you realize that you can't just get what you want because you wanted it, that's gonna be hard on you. Trust me, right? She's speaking facts. Chief and go, goddamn.
That you wanted. You're not giving them what they need. You're not tailoring the new environment or your behaviors or your parenting style around what your current child needs. You are thinking about yourself. Well, if you're a woman and you have a son, you are subconsciously thinking of your son as your daughter, yourself. You're treating him like a girl.
Wow.
Because you were a girl. And you start to give the children things that they don't need, that ends up sabotaging the development of the child.
Oh my God. I hadn't watched it this far. I went to Cali right quick, y'all. You know what I'm saying? I went to Cali right quick. I hadn't watched it this far, but nah, that's a fact. The daughter, wow. But yeah, just like, yeah, because now that same thing. And then like, so let's go back to mothers, and yeah, you got to grow up and find a good man, and that's going to take care of you and, you know, give you everything you want. Isn't that so our mothers even set out the little girls up for this, basically to be pimped. Like, yeah, you find a good man, he give you everything and this and that. And so now the Cheesecake Factory ain't good enough for you for the first date or shit like that. You know what I'm saying? You got all these expectations because your mother said, yeah, you're going to find you a good old man and this and that. And then you tell your son, you go work hard and you just put in that work and you find, you know, and all that shit is just false. It's not true, especially in our reality now with you know, internet and all these different ways to make money. I mean, a vocation, a technical skill, plumbing and electricians and all that's always going to make money. A barber, you know, but y'all know what I'm saying. They basically, the paradigm was you work hard and you put in all these hours and you just put in that work and you'll be successful. No, that's not true. You're gonna put in, it's only a certain amount of hours a day, right? You got to sleep and then you got to put in them hours. So it's no a limit. There's no amount of money that you can make an hour, right? Because that's what they're paying you for your time that could really propel you to greatness and the freedom and to travel the world and to, you know, get your family what you want, create generational wealth. That's going to come from you creating a idea, a business, and some things on your own that can make money in your sleep, or investing, right? Index funds and high yield savings accounts and all these things that we're learning about more. We're becoming more financially literate. But when you grew up as a little boy, you get to work hard and you just go to school and get you a good trade, and or go to college and get you a good degree and just work hard all day. And no, you work hard all day, you're gonna be stressed out. You're gonna come home, you're gonna barely see your kids, you're gonna beat your wife, you're gonna become an alcoholic. You know what I'm saying? You're working at the post office and all this because you're making, oh, you got a good old job. He's making $30 an hour. That ain't shit. You can make $3,000 a minute if you put your mind to it, if you have the mind to do it. So that's facts what she's saying. And then, like, yeah, a lot of these mamas that when the daddy in the house and they set the boy up to just, you know, and will hand you everything and, you know, treat you like what she's saying, like the girl. Oh my God. Hey, I'm not, you know, immune to, I'm not, look, I'm not saying that I'm not a part of this. I'm just watching this and learning. I haven't been this far. I have been a victim or whatever to some of this. And I love my mama and she loved me. But, you know, and it's just the truth. And I'm just here on the Chief and Go to let y'all know. Back to Princella. This is eye awakening.
And they are totally unaware of this. So I believe that more information, more knowledge, more education can help with women seeing their own psyche. Relationships should be a mirror to the individual. Every person that you get with is going to reflect back to you who you are. You have to be attuned enough to know that, this stuff that I'm getting back, it is because I'm projecting something and I'm getting feedback.
Yes.
What is it that I'm doing? What is it about my thought process that's bringing this back to me?
Yes. Oh my goodness. I haven't watched it this far. that is so true. The fact that you're with this person, y'all have this connection, is because of the reflection. It's so many similarities, you know, and things in common that you had that attracted you to this person, even though they're opposites too, because opposites attract. But it's a reason that God has brought, the Creator, the Most High, has brought this person this close to you as a mirror, right? And then we get close to this person, and then certain stuff happen, and it's just like F them. And it's like, no, they're your reflection trying to, and then so when they're telling you things that they see being that close to you, you know, over a period of time, you don't even want to hear it or adhere to it or accept it because you can't handle the truth. But that's the whole God's plan, is to bring that reflection close to you. That's why he brought y'all together, huh? To see that. But now you want to reject the advice from that person because of usually whatever the stuff that y'all been
They're
through.
crazy. They real crazy.
Or whatever the sickness that's in your head, because mental illness is real.
It's nothing but the devil and evil.
Man, I'm just saying, she cooking. Let her cook. Let her cook. I haven't even watched it this far. All right.
What is drawing me to the types of relationships? What is it that is showing me? People don't use relationships as feedback as they should, but they give you information that you really need to not only help yourself, but to help your offspring.
Wow.
And so for women, I believe, since they are the first teachers of the child, that there needs to be far more education in her direction about not only the nature of herself, but the nature of her sons, the male. Women are inadvertently doing things that harms the male's development. And then they'll get out and say, that ain't my fault. He needs to man up.
Or they'll defend it. Or they'll defend it when he do some wild shit at school and the teacher and them call, you know, and she gonna come to the school and say, man, what y'all doing to my son? And he this and that, you know, they'll defend it a lot of times too. Let her cook. Let her cook. All right. We almost done, y'all. This is the one. She can go,
we need
y'all.
to stop the conversation about what men need to do. Do men have their faults? Absolutely. I've spoken on these faults.
Facts.
I've called out a lot of male behavior.
Facts.
I mean, I wrote a book called 41 Shades of Men, The Pursuit to Subdue and Use You. But what's the conversation on women? Because they are the first teachers of the child, you know? So I feel sorry for a lot of the children, especially the involuntary celibates, because they are a danger. And women don't understand. These are your sons. These are your sons. Women procreate indiscriminately.
My son.
They don't value the things that are valuable. And a lot of times women are unable to recognize threats. So women are attracted to like the worst of the worst. They like criminals. They do like criminals. They like psychopaths. They like a lot of things, and these traits end up getting passed down to their offspring. So what happens is you choose jacked up genetics, and now your son is socially awkward.
It's nothing but
he's still a male,
evil.
and he's still going to have sexual desires. And then you don't nurture him the correct way, and you make him weak, unable to fight the woes and the challenges in society. And then he gets out here and struggles with the most fundamental human need, especially the male need. And then you don't nurture him the correct way, and you make him weak, unable to fight the woes and the challenges in society. And then he gets out here and struggles with the most fundamental human need, especially the male need, sex. You create a violent and a very dangerous person to come out into the world. And so we just have a lot of reckless behaviors, and these reckless behaviors come from a lack of knowledge and a lack of understanding about existence itself.
Wow. We cooking, y'all. I ain't even got this far. But it's like we at the end. We cooking. Only on Chief and go.
Are you optimistic about the future of relationships between men and women?
Oh, no, not with artificial intelligence sweeping the market.
And pornography.
Wow.
That too, but honestly, that is not even the biggest, in my opinion, that's not even the biggest issue out of all of the issues. I think the bigger issue is the decline in education, the inability to read, write, articulate. Because what happens is we don't understand our nature as an organism that has a bi-reality, a dual reality. We are animals, but we have the capacity for higher evolution in terms of mind and soul. In order to evolve mind and soul, is heavily dependent on structure, discipline, and education. When you take the education away from people and you take their discipline away and respect for authority, you leave an animal, you leave a wild beast. And that's what we're seeing here. Last time I checked, for the last few years, the average reading comprehension level for adults in America was 6th grade. That's going down drastically. And you're going to leave a species who's uneducated, undisciplined, and lacks respect, but still has biological desires. That is a recipe for chaos. It's a recipe for destruction. Adults in America was 6th grade. That's going down.
Hold up.
In order to evolve mind and soul, it's
Run that back.
heavily dependent on structure, discipline, and education. When you take the education away from people and you take their discipline away and respect for authority, you leave an animal, you leave a wild beast. And that's what we're seeing here. Last time I checked, for the last few years, the average reading comprehension level for adults in America was 6th grade. That's going down drastically. And you're going to leave a species who's uneducated, undisciplined, and lacks respect, but still has biological desires. That is a recipe for chaos. It's a recipe for destruction. And so I'm looking at that. I'm also looking at artificial intelligence coming in, taking the jobs and leaving these people with nothing to do, no aspirations, and no ability to move forward. You can't do anything but create a violent and chaotic situation in a dangerous environment for humans who has a need and a desire to connect with other people. I don't see that turning out very well. Just given the raw information, because everything deals with cause and effect. And the biggest cause of all of the things that's going to be happening right now is the destruction of the educated person. That's the first thing. Right. And everything is just going to fall apart from there.
Let me ask you one last question, Princella. What would you say the most important thing we need to keep in mind to keep our relationships happy and healthy?
The thing that you have to keep in mind is that you have to accept and respect the fact that we're all flawed creations.
Facts.
We are not perfect. There is no way for us to be perfect. Humans are fundamentally broken.
Yeah.
And if we can accept that fact, we can respect and allow room for human fault.
Yes.
Relationships fall apart more so because we can't accept the faults that make us who we are. Yeah. We don't leave room for it. We're looking for perfection. We're looking for a picture. We're looking for a fairy tale. And that's never going to happen.
Yeah. not on earth.
Such an interesting talk.
Right?
Yes.
Princella,
Make
where
money,
can people
stay
find
out of
your
way.
content?
You can find me at the Queen Maker Official on Instagram. I'm also the Queen Maker Official on TikTok, and I'm coming up with a new podcast called The Primordial Mind, but you can still find me at the High Power Podcast on YouTube.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts, and maybe we'll do this again one day.
Yes, sir. Thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah. I did my best to navigate the back and forth.
Okay, I keep seeing comments like this.
Okay.
Love Carpe, but it's so
Shut
expensive.
up.
Can you guys lower the price? Well, guess what? I got.
Yeah, I still hear that. But I had to do that in the middle of the night. You know, now it's 6 o'clock in the morning, and sometimes I pull all nighters when I feel like it's worth it for the culture. You know, focus gives you energy, and I was catching that video earlier, you know, and I said, man, I got to just share that with the people, because Princella Clark was just sharing some just undeniable truths, right? Hard truths for the men and the women. Like she had some truths for me where I was like, just talking about, but it's just real. So, and I, you know, you can't deny the truth, and if you do, you just, you know, you just stunt your growth, right? You got to see the truth. You got to see what it is. You got to define it to defeat it. And I think she just really touched on a lot of great, um, you know, subjects. I mean, a lot of great talking points, a lot of great aspects, a lot of great, you know, just a lot of great things that need to be addressed as far as men and women in relationships, and and our thinking and our psychology and the science of men and women, right? Like she touched on it from a lot of different angles. And, you know, tell me how y'all feel in the comments. If you know, you can argue with her, but in my opinion, and from what I've seen, she was talking that truth, and she was spitting straight fire, straight bars. Whole time she was just talking that talk, you know. So shout out to her, Princella Clark. Shout out to Soft White Underbelly. I'm gonna leave their pages and ats in the description. But yeah, this has been a chief and go that I thought was necessary for the community, necessary for the culture, necessary for the ladies and G's, you know, that may be going through relationship troubles. You know, I think it's important, you know, to look at these things from a certain angle and a certain perspective and a certain vantage point. And like I said, I think she was fair across the board with men and women. She wasn't like taking sides. And that's very important, because a lot of times that's what most people do. You know, their perspective or vantage point you know, forces them to look at things a certain way, you know, with the way they was raised, their previous relationship experience, um, you know, the way they watch their parents interact or what have you, right? Usually our perspective is shaped by experience, right? And then sometimes we never go back and question that experience that shaped our perspective. And that's what the self work is about, right? Going in and looking at self and meditating, and, you know, just kind of trying to recall moments in our life and recall why we look at certain things as at why we look at certain things the way we look at them. And like, why do I think like this? Whenever I see this or whenever this happens, I feel like this. Why? Why is that? Right? Is it because I went to church for 20 years, or is it because my mother, you know, gave me this mantra and told me, you know, this and that, or my father said this, or my uncle, or whatever the case may be. Why do I view certain things in a certain way, right? And to go as a grown up, looking back to analyze and question some of those things and the validity of them, and and is that true to me now and my older self, right? Through my experiences that I have experienced, since those ideals, or those type of those ideals, those ideas, those concepts have been implemented in me. Are those my true, I, the me, the self, the my, what I'm saying? Are those my true feelings? Or did I get that from my surroundings and my environment? Right. And so that's what like the self-work is really about, looking at those things and what shaped my perspective and why they did, and questioning them and determining whether they should be my perspective at this point or moving forward in the future. So yeah, goddamn Chief and go. Chief Dizzle for Shizzle for Sheezy for show. Always remain true. Y'all make sure y'all go check it out. Always remain true. That Printful, that me. Like I said, I don't know if they're gonna shut that video down, because I played their whole video. Shout out to Soft White Underbelly on YouTube. Shout out to, why do I keep forgetting her name? Princella Clark. I'm not forgetting it. I just want to make sure it's right, because she was cooking, y'all. And hopefully this helps. Hopefully this helps you in your mindset and your thinking and your relationship and all that. Right? Love y'all, man. Till the next time. Peace, love, and crank. Hey.
It's a vibe. It's a vibe. 95, I pledge allegiance to the crank. Oh, as long as I'm alive.
Chief and go.